Hi friends, still Chris here. Welcome back to Fitness of Games and Streamers, and today I want to talk about a topic I've been thinking about quite a lot recently. And that's, for most people, fitness doesn't need to be a whole body transformation, life transformation thing. You'll get there in the end. But I think for most people it's much easier and much more realistic and practical just to build better habits into your life, to replace bad habits with good habits, and to build a better life, energy level, fitness, endurance, everything, just by incremental progress rather than making a massive transformational change. Which is probably quite an unpopular view, but I think for most people who've got a life, who want to enjoy their life as well, I don't think it's good to have this massive turning your life on a pivot necessarily. I don't think you need to have one day a revelation strike you and say, right, my whole life is going to change today. I'm going to give up all these things I enjoy. I'm going to stop doing all these things that give me comfort and happiness in this miserable world and become a fitness person instead, and then everything will be better and everything will be right. Because fitness, whilst it's fantastic, it's great, it should improve your life, so many people make it their entire personality, and they also make themselves quite miserable. They kind of indulge in the suffering of it, I think, and I think a lot of that's on social media. I think it's very popular and quite trendy to be, I live in the gym, I suffer for this, I go to war, and I battle the weights and stuff. But at the end of the day, what you should be doing for your body is improving it. You should be trying to live I truly believe you should be trying to live a happy life. I don't believe you should live a life of suffering. I'm not saying there shouldn't be discomfort or some any hardship at all, but I think generally if you're into fitness and health, you're going from a position of a blessing, really. I think you're coming from a position of privilege. I think you realise that if you are able to go to a gym to buy food that's good for you, it's healthy, that's quite a privileged thing to be able to do. Even on a minor level, I think it's a very good thing to do, focus on your health. I think we kind of forget that in the world of social media all the time. Everyone's focusing on what everyone else has got. They want to live luxurious lifestyles. They want to get this Instagram life. They want to have these big sponsorships, travel around the world and things. I don't think that needs to be for everyone. I think you should find comfort and joy and pleasure in a small life, really. And I think fitness can be a part of that, and it can improve the other parts of your life, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting into fitness just to improve the life that you already have. And I think that's kind of really underrepresented in social media. I think we see all these crazy people screaming at you, just change your life around, you're wasting your life. I don't believe that. I think you should spend your life how you wish to spend it. And if you aren't spending it the way you want to, you should change it and improve it. But I truly don't believe that everyone needs to be a fitness freak. I think you should find a level of fitness that works for you. And honestly, I think that you can do that with doing the basics every week. And I don't think you need to have a big transformation. You don't have to spin on a dime and say, from now on, my life is different. You can, that's cool. It's very dramatic and it's very TV style things. But most of the time, it's not a big revelation. It's a feeling that's been creeping up on you for a while. It's the not feeling happy with how you look, not feeling happy with how you feel. Realising you're quite low on energy, you're relying on coffee too much, your energy drinks. You realise you can't really play your favourite games for as long as you want because you can't focus as well. You're getting tired, you're falling asleep. And life becomes a bit mundane and boring, and it's wrong having a boring life. I think having a small life is great, but I think if your fitness is getting in the way of living the life you want to live, then that's when you need to start making changes. It's not having to throw out everything in your house and start anew, because that's quite expensive and it's not everything can really do, or it's necessary, to be honest. I think if you start building some protein into your day, start thinking about your sleep, start doing some sort of strength training, some movement, getting going, small habits, like I said, they always build up, and you want to stack up. I always say you want to stack up the small wins. So I don't think you need to go around and find the perfect routine. I think the main thing to do is get started and allow the changes to grow from there. It tends to snowball. And understand that you're probably not going to be the strongest person in the world. You're not necessarily going to be the biggest person in the world. You're not going to be the fittest person in the world. You're not going to be the most attractive person in the world. And all those things are fine. That's a good thing, because that gives you realistic expectations, and you don't have to feel you have to push yourself that far, make yourself that uncomfortable, and lose a life that you currently have. Because I think a lot of people worry about starting too much, and they think, I've got this potential, I've got this innate potential to become the strongest person in the world. And it tends to be in men. It tends to be in young men, teenagers who have been lifting for a few years, or just want to start lifting and want to do the best, compare themselves to people on social media, which is always a folly. You only see very selective parts of people's lives on social media. It's all edited, it's all filtered, it's all marketed, it's all capitalist and quite horrible, to be honest. So I don't believe you should be going into fitness expecting to be the best at anything, or even necessarily wanting to be the best at anything. I think you should clearly have your eyes on the prize to improve your life, and think every time you do something in fitness or health, how will this improve my life, my happiness? and happiness to those around me. Even if it's just making your mum worry less about your health. Even if it's being able to look after your children, carry them, play games with them all day. Even if it's just being able to play football with your friends on a Wednesday night, a Friday night, try different sports. That's perfectly valid. You don't have to answer for that for anyone. You don't have to try to be the biggest, the strongest, because you won't be. And if you're listening to this, you definitely won't be. If you're a genetic freak, then find things very easy. Then you can do whatever you want. But I don't think you should be trying to follow genetic freaks, because they'll be incredible outliers regardless, and you can't base your progress based on what they do. Likewise, we like to lionize athletes, lionize bodybuilders, strongmen, scientists even, people who are naturally very, very good at things, and hold ourselves up to their standard, which we shouldn't be doing. So I kind of gone on a tangent here and just been talking about, but I see this a lot on social media, and I see it on Twitter, and I see it on Discord and TikTok and everywhere. But make small habits. You don't have to turn your whole life around. You don't have to reject your current life. If you're not happy with your life, that's fine. You can make changes. But again, I think small changes lead to more sustainable habits. Get a bad habit and replace it slowly with a better habit. You don't have to drop everything, because not everyone can do that. And also, most of the time, the rest of your life is still going on. You've got a job, you've got other commitments to do, you've got a social life, people to talk to, you've got family. You can't really just go monk mode, as people like to tell you to do, and disappear for 6 months, because you can afford to do that. It's ridiculous. So that's from a super place of real privilege, and whilst that would be a nice thing to do, it's not going to happen. You don't have to go monk mode or disappear to transform your life. You can make small steps that lead to sustainable, meaningful, measurable progress, and that's what I think we should be trying to do. It's much more impressive to me to see someone who is slowly trying to improve their life whilst balancing everything else, because unless you're young, unless you're extremely wealthy, privileged, you can't just throw everything away and give yourself 6 months, a year to, transform. That's not going to happen. So for the real people actually listening to this, just because you don't have these things available to you, these resources, it doesn't mean you can't do it. It means that you can make small, meaningful progress, and that leads to more sustainable changes that will lead to a happier and better life. Always focus on how fitness and health will improve your life. Don't get caught up in trying to be the best, because you're not going to be the best. Believe me, I've been there, I've tried. Don't get discouraged, because that can lead to discouragement. It leads to going to extreme lengths that you don't want to do. It leads to unhappiness and unnecessary suffering. I'm not a fan of suffering. I think discomfort is useful and it gets valuable. But honestly, fitness and health is a privilege. You should be trying to improve your life and the life of those around you. So that's all for today. Don't be afraid to start small. Incremental progress adds up. It's valuable. You don't have to disappear for 6 months to go monk mode. Start making small changes and start doing that now. Thank you. Goodbye.